Radio Raheem here with Eddie Hearn with another epic night here at the O2. Fantastic card. Some surprises went down. Some things maybe you're happy about. Some things you might be less happy about. We could start with Frank Buglioni.
Easy for you to say.
Buglioni?
That's all right.
That's better.
Yeah. I've just not heard it in an American accent before. Yeah.
I keep putting the G in there. But there's that was a surprise, man.
Although when you listen to Michael Buffer announce Lucas Brown, did anyone see him say, "From Australia"? It was like,
If Michael Buffer says it, that's the correct pronunciation.
Right, yeah. That was. It wasn't so much a surprise. It was a surprise how quickly it happened. I said in the build-up, you can't stand in front of Callum Johnson and trade with him. He's a devastating puncher. And he's got a real chance now in that division. Like, he's got pedigree. He was a great amateur. He won the Commonwealth Games gold medal. You know, he's been inactive with personal and family problems, and you know, he's had a year out. That was such a massive win for him. And I feel for Frank Buglioni. He's a great pro, and he'll be back. But Callum Johnson's like the guy who's... The shackles are off. He's good to go. He's like, let's go. Anthony Yard, whoever, and that's the big. He's going to be a threat to the division because it's very hard.
Buglioni is a real crowd favorite as well. I mean, to be somewhat deep on the undercard and get the kind of fanfare he has, this has definitely got to be a setback. What do you do with a guy like that in a position such as his?
Well, you come back, you build again. The Commonwealth title might be vacant. I would like to see the rematch with Callum Johnson, but obviously when you lose in the first round, it's very difficult to make. So maybe down the line. There's the fight with Jose Burton as well, which was a fight of the year contender in December of last year, the year before. So we'll see. But Frank Buglioni's a good fighter. He just made mistakes tonight. He got caught with a huge shot and he couldn't recover. It was a good stoppage, by the way. You know, I know the towel went in, but people were complaining about stoppage. It was absolutely bang on.
And I spoke to both fighters. They both agreed with the stoppage. Don Charles says, it was a good one. So that wasn't the biggest shot of the night, though. The biggest shot of the night was landed by Dillon White. And he put a giant to sleep in a scary fashion.
Yeah, he did,
You know the guy. We've seen him fight many times before. I think that's the biggest punch I've seen him land. Did it surprise you, the result of that punch?
Yeah, I mean, Lucas Brown's a very tough guy, and he broke him down, and it surprised me how long Lucas Brown stayed on his feet, because I know Dillon's punching a lot harder now. The body shots, like, if you watch it back, actually the cleverness, if that's even a word, of Dillon White, to the body, to the head, the jabs, the work inside, it's a really good performance. And people are always critical, like, oh, Lucas Brown's like, he's old and finished. It's like, well, he wasn't before the fight, so maybe it was just a good performance from Dillon White, but to knock him out like that. Heavyweight boxing is all about excitement. It's all about knockouts. People don't want to see you go to points. Like, they don't mind if you are in a war, but what that was for Dillon was headlining the O2, big crowd, live on Sky Sports, live on HBO, which that added more pressure because really you only get one shot with these American broadcasters in the UK. Like, you sell it to them, you tell them Dillon White, Lucas Brown, blah, blah, and then they go, okay, I'll buy it. And then you're like, please. Because I did a heavyweight fight once on HBO with Luis Ortiz and Malik Scott in Monaco, and I'm still getting over it, to be honest with you. So that was a big night for Dillon White. Great knockout, showreel knockout, which everyone will be watching on social media, on HBO, and gives him great momentum.
Well, you mentioned Luis Ortiz, and his name's come up a couple times this week, but now it appears like maybe Dillon White could be in line for something like a Luis Ortiz. That looks like a hell of a good fight right now. We've seen White have heavy shots before and be able to take punches and be successful, but he seems to be more skilled now, if you agree. He's slimmed down, he's more skillful. We know Luis Ortiz has the skill. Is that a fight? Maybe it could bring you some redemption from the Malik Scott fight?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, look, the aim now is for Dillon to fight for the world title. So no disrespect to Luis Ortiz. It is a good fight, but if you're going to be in a fight that dangerous, you'd want some kind of carrot. And there's no carrot in the Luis Ortiz fight, other than it's just a good fight for the fans, which is okay, it's important, but really I want to see him fight Deontay Wilder next. And that's not, oh, you're trying to swerve the AJ fight. That's, if AJ fights Deontay Wilder in his next fight, it won't be till October, November, December anyway. So those guys can fight in June, July. You know, it's not like it's short money or anything like that. It's the biggest payday of his career by a mile. And it grows the Joshua fight to another level as well. So I think Wilder should look at it. Obviously, he's going to be in Cardiff this week, and you know it's going to be a lot of fun because Joshua will be there, and Dillon will be there, and Bellew will be there, and Hay will be there, and he's going to be a big platform for Deontay. Obviously, the whole entire world media will be there. So we'll see what happens.
This is Dillon White fight in June, no matter what, even Wilder or no Wilder.
Yeah, I think June or July. June or July. Yeah. I mean, he wants to stay active, and I think we need to build off the momentum of a great win.
You know, there's one big carrot hanging out there in the 168 division in that tournament. George Groves with somewhat of an upset win over Eubank, but he's now dealing with an injury, and they're trying to decide whether or not he's going to be able to compete for that championship. What are your thoughts on that? Should they have time to recover, and should the tournament wait, or where would you come down?
As a promoter of fights, standalone fights, I would wait as long as we had to wait. It's a big fight. It's between two Brits. It's a pay-per-view fight. Sells out an arena. So I'm easy to wait a couple of months. The tournament is about the tournament. It's about the trophy, the Ali Trophy, and it has to be completed by a certain time. So they're not going to wait. You know, like July's the day. They don't really care if another fighter comes in. They're not about the fighters. They're not about the promotion of one-off events. They're about the tournament. Do you know what I mean?
It's fair.
So I understand that, and I actually respect that they say, no, we need to get this finished. If he's not ready, someone else comes in. But for me, as a promoter of one-off events, I would want to wait, but we'll see.
Having been a former promoter of Eubank and appreciating his skill as a businessman set aside, do you think if he has an opportunity to step in those shoes and take Groves' place, does he have a chance against Smith? Would he beat him?
Not without a trainer, and not on the showing of the George Groves fight. I don't think Chris Eubank Jr. will get the call to go into the final, personally. But
I thought that was a foregone conclusion.
No, I don't think so. But I mean, he's an option, obviously. But I just think it dampens it if it's not George Groves. Like, you know, they've both won the quarters and their semis. Now that's it. I mean, Callum had a withdrawal in the semis, so he won his first round against a non-seed. Then someone else came in and he beat him. And then we don't want someone else to come in and face him in the final, you know, because then he's ended up beating two guys who weren't even in the tournament. Well, to win the trophy. It just seems, you know.
That does seem a little bit off. But I've been making fights all this week, as you know. You and I have settled some terms. I made another one just at the pub quiz. Carl Froch says no matter who wins the 68 division tournament, he's ready to fight that guy the next day. He beats them all.
He talks a good game. I wish he would come back. He's got a new nose now, so he won't be coming back. But there was only one mistake he made, and that was not fighting Julio Cesar Chavez in his last fight in Vegas. But after the Groves fight, it took a piece of his soul, and he was done. So he talks a good game.
Not ready to promote that one.
I would have always liked to have seen at the end Froch against DeGale as well. But anyway.
Lastly, Eddie, before I let you go, it's been a late night. There's been some news. Obviously, you know that Canelo is now facing a temporary suspension, a hearing in April. The fight hangs in the balance in May. What are your thoughts on this news?
My thoughts are that it's not very good for the fight. Yeah. Like, so you've now got a hearing on April the 10th. What, just over 3 weeks before the fight?
Right.
So what about the people who are paying for their travel? What about the people that have paid for their hotels? What about the broadcasters that are building support program, HBO, making the 24/7s? No one really knows. I mean, unless you get a heads up from the commission who say, listen, we're wrapping his knuckles, but the fight goes ahead. That may be the case, by the way. But it's not. I mean, it sounds to me like everything's up in the air. And it sounds to me like Mr. Loeffler and Miss Golovkin might be planning something else or getting ready. I mean, that's their job too. I hope it happens. I want to see the fight, you know? Right. I don't know whether ethically it's right.
Where would you come down ethically on that? We know what we know.
Boxing and ethics don't really always mix.
But knowing what we know, should Canelo be allowed to fight?
I keep saying, like, if he was unlucky and he ate something that affected his sample, yes, 100%. If he was cheating, no, 100%. What to believe? If you put a gun to my head and say, what was he doing? I would say he was cheating. But I can't tell you that systematically. I can't tell you that 100%. Can we? We don't know. There are proven cases of contaminated meat in Mexico. You'd hope that with the dough that Canelo's got, he eats some decent meat. You know?
One of the only rivals that Tyson Fury has as a troll on the internet might be Billy Joe Saunders.
Yeah.
So he couldn't wait to say, I'm ready to jump in as soon as, the tainted meat guy gets his suspension. That's probably a long shot, but if Triple G Saunders were to take place, I know that's not your guy, but what are your thoughts? Do you think Saunders could best him?
I think Golovkin's the favourite, but I think that Billy Joe showed against Lemieux that he's serious talent. If his head's screwed on, he's pulled out of the Murray fight. I'm not sure what's happened there, but I think he has a good shot against Golovkin.
You still ready to promote him? Ready to put that offer out?
If and when he's out of contract, we'd definitely be interested.
Radio Raheem with Eddie Hearn. Always a fantastic conversation and even better fights on the night. I appreciate the time. Radio Raheem with Eddie Hearn at the O2 Arena.